So my tour in SAC was very short as a B-52 aircraft commander. Well, after that tour in SAC, the assignment out of there was back to Vietnam and went to Ubon, Thailand, flying F-4s. And of course, in 1972, the war was heating up again. Got assigned to the 433rd Squadron, which was one of the 2 or 3 that were using the early versions of laser-guided ordnance. So it was a great learning experience. And then we came back, and after that, the war slowed down and the negotiations started again in 1973. And the last 3 or 4 months I was in Thailand, it was kind of slow. But, by that time, of course, I'd been promoted then to major. Then the assignments came down out of Thailand. And I thought, oh boy, this is going to be an experience. And my assignment was to be at New Ulm down by Stuttgart, Germany. Lo and behold, about 3 weeks before I was to depart Thailand, my orders got changed. You're reassigned to F-4s in England. And so that's how I ended up in F-4s in England. About end of 3 years there, you're supposed to get a set of orders to go somewhere else. Never got any orders, never got any orders. And I remember Kenny Sublett walking out of the training department of the wing, says, "Hey, did you put your name in to go to Germany to fly F-15s?" And I says, "They don't want an old major like me. You know, they're looking for young guys." He says, "Why don't you let me put your name in?" And I said, "Well, go ahead, Ken. You know, we're pretty good friends." And I said, "Yeah, go ahead and do it," because I didn't think I had a prayer in hell of getting an assignment like that, because I was just one of the good old boys. And so we're having a big operational readiness inspection, and the wing commander had been gone for 2 days. We're in the middle of this inspection, and at this time I'm working now as one of the directors in the command post. And there's 2 who work 12-hour shifts. You basically run the war with the advice of the wing commander and people behind you, but you've got a whole staff to support you. And so I'm sitting there, and we're going along in the middle of the night and getting ready for the big build-up tomorrow morning, which is the last day. And he says, "Bates, keep your act together and you may have a job." And I'm watching 1,000 things going on, and it just kind of passed by me. Just never dawned on me what was coming on. And so, you know, then I went home that night and went to bed. Next day, the make-believe war got over, and I got to talking to people, and come to find out, he had been to a staff meeting at headquarters, U.S. Air Forces Europe, to pick the crew members to go fly the first F-15 wing at Bitburg, Germany. And he'd been on that selection staff. And I was fortunate enough to be selected to go one of the early F-15 pilots at Bitburg, Germany. It was more likely the finest group of aviators, because each one of them was hand-picked. Each one of them was a very selective and very skilled aviator, very skilled officer. And unfortunately, those only occur once in a lifetime. But it was an experience that I'll never forget. Plus, the airplane was absolutely state-of-the-art. Absolutely state-of-the-art. To this day, it's the best airplane I've ever flown. I spent 3 years there, and then I was reassigned back to Luke Air Force Base in Arizona. And that was the schoolhouse for F-15 pilots worldwide. Fortunate enough there to command a squadron of F-15s, highlight my career. Unfortunately, I got promoted out of the best job there is and went on to become a full colonel and chief of maintenance, and retired from the Air Force after 24 years, of which we enjoyed every minute of it.
It's important that the wife of an officer support him, and so therefore I didn't work. I took all of my responsibilities with the military very serious, as well as raising the kids. I was very active in the wives' clubs wherever we went. I was very concerned about the young people coming into the military, and wanted to make sure that the young wives had a good experience. So I made efforts to visit them, to take meals into them when they were ill and had babies, and had meetings, and didn't expect. In those days, there were kind of the white glove days where you were expected to go to a lot of things, but I made it very easy for the women that I worked with, so that they came if they wanted to, and because I was that way, they did want to come to the meetings, and ended up in my 50s going back and finishing college and got my master's degree in human development with the emphasis on early childhood education. And I worked for 20 years in a school district.
So now I've retired the first time and decided to come back to Arizona, the house we'd bought when we were first assigned there, and said, well, we're just going to travel. Well, in the meantime, my daughter Barbie had graduated from college and went to work for an airline, a startup airline there in Phoenix called America West. And so she said, Dad, why don't you put in an application? I said, they don't hire old farts like me. Well, they're 48 years old. I said, you know, they don't want anybody my age. So I said, I'll put it in. So again, just like Kenny Sublett, I put in an application. So they hired me. And at that time, the airline was expanding very rapidly. 4 months later, I was a captain with the airline. So I spent the next 12 years as an airline captain, flying 737s and 757s for America West Airlines. Then the magic age 60 hit, and I have mandatory retirement. So one day before I'm age 60, I retire. Great time period. So then I retired from my second job. So then I said, well, now maybe I'll just go travel around. Didn't work. So now I'm building buildings and building houses and remodeling houses, and have become a real estate baron, I guess.